It's been great. It's been first class. Wonderful hotel, wonderful people. I know all the guys are excited. And on top of that, we're looking forward to playing a great Oklahoma State team. Preparation's gone well, and just excited.
Andrew, I know your mind is on the game here against Oklahoma State. You can indulge us in a couple of questions about the end.
Well, for us, of course, we got to control the line of scrimmage. But at the same time, we have to be patient with our run game. They have an offense that has the ability to score a lot of points, a lot like Oregon. I'm not sure that we're built for shootouts, should I say? But we're just.
My preferences haven't changed. Wherever I land, I'm sure it'll be great. I'm not going to root for one team to lose or win or whatever. I'm not saying I don't care about it, because I do care about football. But wherever I end up, I'm sure it'll be they're the best spot for me.
Have you considered the plus things for each of the Rams and the Colts in your mind?
To be honest, no. I think they'll be. No, I didn't even know who the other team was, and and who knows if I'll be the first pick or not. That's a lot of time. Till then, so I don't really think about it, to be honest.
I'll bet you $1 you're the first pick.
All right, I can't do that. I'm NCAA student athlete.
When did you give Oklahoma State a serious look? What was the extent of your involvement in 07?
I remember going to one of their camps in Houston and meeting Coach Gundy and a lot of the coaches. But beyond that, I think just didn't really go beyond that.
So when you're 8th, 9th grade, even at that point, were you open to playing anywhere or going anywhere, or were you at that point thinking you're probably going to play in the Big 12?
In 8th and 9th grade, I don't think I was thinking about college football. That was pretty young. I think when I started getting recruited my sophomore year, and then I think I never narrowed in on one part of the country. I moved around a lot growing up, so I think I had the travel bug in me. So maybe I was almost more destined to get away from the state or from that area.
So in hindsight, it turned out well for you, obviously. Mm-hmm. But are you now kind of stunned that Texas and A&M were a little more aggressive, maybe?
No. Recruiting is a funny business. You can tell how a 17, 16, 18-year-old kid's going to pan out, and I think it's worked out for me. It's worked out for a lot of kids that have gone to all the universities. So I'm not that stunned.
A year ago, your dad hired their offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Were you consulted on that? Or did he ask for an opinion from you on that offense?
No, he didn't. But no, he keeps me sort of abreast of what's going on in West Virginia, and I know he's very excited and happy with Coach Holgorsen.
You've seen West Virginia. You've seen Oklahoma State. Do you ever picture yourself in that kind of offense? And man, just all those options, just throwing every down.
Not really. I love the offense I'm in. I feel very happy. So no, I don't daydream too much about that.
To kind of go off the recruiting stuff, what was your perception of Oklahoma State while you were maybe in high school and starting to think about where you want to play college football, and maybe how has that changed now that they've kind of gone on this run and are now in the CSC just like you guys?
No, well, I always thought they had a program committed to winning. I remember they were going through a big push when I was in high school on remodeling a stadium, and I remember being inundated with information about that, and you could tell they were very committed to becoming a winning program. And obviously they've done that in the past couple of years with great players and everything. I remember they had a great Houston quarterback, Bobby Reed, from high school. So obviously all the Houston kids were all interested in what happens to them. So I remember being very impressed with the program while I was being recruited.
When you look at them now defensively, what stands out on tape?
Yeah, I think opportunistic is the word. I know they might get a knock for giving up yards or whatever XYZ, but I think they have 42 takeaways on the year. They and they've won a bunch of games, and not just because they have a great offense, but I think because they have a defense that's when they need a stop, they'll get a stop. When they need a pick six, it shows up. They get a pick six on film. So very opportunistic.
How do you look at this game? You kind of just with your offense, is it business as usual, or have you done much adjustment to meet their defensive shortcomings?
Well, I think you have to adjust every game to be successful and find out maybe what a weakness is or what a strength is of the opposition. So, but that being said, that has been business. We always try and adjust things, but still maintain the core or your identity on offense. So it is business as usual, but you do have to adjust to certain things.
And your evaluation of Oklahoma State's quarterback Brandon Weeden is talked about highly too.
No, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I don't get to watch film on him because I'm more concerned with the defense. But I've got to meet Brandon. I've known him for the past couple of years. Wonderful guy, great character, and just watching highlights and maybe games on TV, you can really hum it. And it seems like he puts his offense in a great position every time they're on the field and can make all the throws.
Andrew, how much does it mean to your offense to have the 3 tight end package back intact for the first time since Game 5?
Yeah, hopefully it'll mean a lot. I mean, with Zach, Kobe, and Levine on the field, I think it presents very interesting matchup problems. You bring them down tight, you can spread them all out. So, hopefully we'll take advantage of all those 3 guys on the field.
When you have those guys out there, from an oddballing standpoint, does that give you kind of the ability to do some stuff in the defense when you prepare for certain packages and whatnot?
Yeah, I think what's great about having 3 tight ends on the field is there are only so many defensive looks. I think you can give. So you can sort of not dictate what's going to happen, but sort of be prepared for how someone's going to, line up to a 3 tight end set, and so that makes it a little easier as a quarterback to maybe to see what type of play to get into.
What do you like about each of those 3 guys individually? They have a little bit of a different skill set.
I don't know. They're all very different. I think Levine, if you overthrow Levine or throw it too high, you should stop playing quarterback, as Coach Pep tells us. As a 6'8" guy, you better be able to hit him. And then Kobe, he's just fast and make plays, and Ertz does a great job with his body, and especially making plays in the red zone.
Andrew, what are your thoughts about Chris Owusu? You won't be able to play. It's basically the end of his career with Stanford. What do you think about that?
Very sad. I love the guy to death. I wish he could play with us again. Obviously, he's got to protect himself and his future. But as a friend, and more, not just a teammate, but as a friend, very sad.
What about this game? What's going to be the key for you guys to move the ball?
I think not making mistakes, protecting the football. I mentioned earlier, I think they have 42 takeaways, and just executing. I think that's the name of the game. Just got to execute.
How many kids were in your class at Stratford?
How many kids were in my class at Stratford? Like 450 maybe.
Did you have to speak when you were called out for it?
No, I did not. No.
I just wondered if that would have been more difficult than anything you
Probably would have been.
You mentioned having a travel bug. Can you just talk about growing up being in Europe and just how that experience sort of influenced you?
It was a great experience. I think I got to see a lot of where my parents' families came from. I know I still have aunts and uncles, second aunts and uncles living in Germany and stuff. So to sort of see the heritage of our family was nice, and maybe opened my eyes to different cultures and different things. So I feel very, very blessed and grateful. But it does, coming back to America, it does make you appreciate this country that much more as well.
And each of your parents, can you just talk about their influence on you?
Yeah, no, they've been great. Start with my mom, obviously. She's my mom. She's always there for me. She does everything I need in her mind. So it's great. And then my dad, he's always he obviously played football as well, and still works sort of in a football capacity. But he's always been there more as a father as opposed to a football coach or meddling in those affairs.
Ultimately, were you more drawn to the Stanford culture or to Coach Harbaugh?
I think it was a combination of both. Obviously, Stanford, as a university, I think academically, and it speaks for itself. And the Silicon Valley and all the opportunities, business-wise or socially, culturally, yeah, it's great. But I think Coach Harbaugh, when we were being recruited by him, and all the guys on the staff, Coach Shaw included, you could tell they're committed to changing the program and becoming a winning, competitive team. And so, without that football culture, I don't know if Stanford would have been so enticing.
So are you blown away by what Harbaugh pulled off this first season?
Mildly surprised, but I was thinking about it recently, and I shouldn't have been. He did the same thing at Stanford. Maybe it took a couple more years to get it going, but I think he definitely has that magic touch.
Was that pretty natural, just to transition into Coach Shaw?
Absolutely. He always had a big presence on the staff, as it was. And I think he was well liked by all the guys. And offensively, it's the same system. Obviously things change year to year, even if you have the same coach, but it's the same verbiage, all that stuff. So guys are very comfortable offensively with that. And as far as day-to-day operations and how things went, it was all the same. So it was very, very smooth.
Was it a stressful time at all for you or the others a year ago, just not really knowing what was going to happen?
A little bit. Our athletic director, Bob Bowlesby, he did have an open door policy where any player could come in and sort of voice his opinion or ask questions, which I think sort of eased maybe the apprehension of a bunch of the players. But yeah, it's a little stressful. But we had faith that that we'd get a great coach, and it obviously worked out very well with Coach Shaw.
Does it seem to make a big deal to him that he played there and went to school there?
Well, absolutely. I think you call him a Stanford man, I guess per se, but I think he understands maybe a lot of the situations student athletes at Stanford may get themselves into that may be a little harder for a guy who didn't go to school there do, but no, you can tell he has a lot of respect for the university and really loves it.
Andrew, some people think Stanford is going to fall off the football map after you leave. What do you think this team is going to be like next year and in the future?
I think they'll still be very, very competitive. Hopefully better. Hopefully go out and win a national championship. But I think the groundwork, the framework has been set for a competitive team. I think we've got recruiting classes that were better than my class. And I know a lot's been written about guys like DeCastro, Jonathan Martin, and Delano Howell. But I think a lot of great recruiting classes below us, and I think they'll continue to get better and improve.
I've read that Texas did recruit you to some extent and didn't, but wasn't very aggressive. Is that fair?
Yeah, you could say that.
Was there ever an outright offer to you?
No.
Never.
Did you have any interest in playing at the same school your dad's at?
No. It just, for some reason, maybe it was the thing where you don't want to follow completely in your father's footsteps, but no, I never really wanted to go to West Virginia.
And how did he handle just giving you advice along the way? Not only where you should go to college, but now looking forward?
Well, I think he takes the approach. He sort of lets me just, make all the decisions, and he's there for me if I have a question. And I think, he trusts myself and all my siblings, I think, to make the right decisions or the right decision in his mind. But he's always there for to answer a question or give an opinion, and if he feels like an opinion is needed, and I'm not asking, he'll give it to me. But he sort of lets us make all the decisions.
Does having him in the same business, so to speak, help you though?
No, yeah, I think so. Obviously he's sort of walked that path, before, whether it's high school, college, or to the next level, and he knows a lot of people. He can, and if he doesn't have an answer to a question, that answer is a phone call away for him for someone else in the business. So it's definitely helpful, and it's interesting for me to talk to him about what he has to deal with and the decisions he has to make.
What do you see yourself doing with your architectural degree?
I don't know. To practice architecture, I'd have to go to grad school for a couple more years. So that would be the first step, before practicing it.
But is it something, even depending how your football career plays out, is it something you want to do?
Yeah. Obviously, I want to be a professional football player. I think that'd be great. That's my dream. But after that, or if it doesn't work out, I think I definitely like to go back to grad school and practice architecture.
This is like was somewhat of a quasi home for Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah.
What do you think about his?
I noticed Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. It's right next to the hotel, and I think Talesian East, which was a sort of newer school in his home, right? Yeah. So, obviously one of the best American architects, you could argue. We study a lot of his work, in the history classes. So, very interesting.
I read that at some point you, maybe because your travels or whatnot, you were sort of interested in stadium construction and that sort of thing.
No, yeah, I think being an athlete too, stadiums have always interested me. I love, my dad worked in NFL Europe, so we'd go to different stadiums. I could go on a trip to Edinburgh with him or to Barcelona and go to the old stadiums. And living in London, you get to go to the old Highbury Park, where Arsenal played and things of that nature. So I was always interested in stadiums and the different feels of each one.
Yeah. When you made the decision to come back this year, obviously it was a very personal decision, but can you kind of reflect on that and sort of now what you think looking back on that decision you made almost a year ago?
Yeah, no regrets for sure. Which is not to say I've enjoyed every moment. There's things you wish you didn't have to go through, or why I'm have to do that. But no regrets, and I try not to let myself think, what if? Why am I doing this when I could be doing X, Y, Z? But definitely no regrets, and I feel like I've grown, matured, and learned a lot through the whole thing.
Do you think you knew everything that you needed to know as far as like those things that would make you think, I wish I wasn't here doing this? I mean, did you sort of inherently know those when you made the decision that there'd be those times when it wasn't all roses? And
I wasn't living in a fairy tale, I think. Or maybe I'm a little naive on some things, but I knew it wasn't going to be a cakewalk every day or things. So, but which is good. It's part of it.
What are you most glad that you came back for?
If we had a terrible season, that'd be pretty rough. So I'm glad we won, and I'm glad we have the opportunity to go out and play again in at a great BCS Fiesta Bowl. And obviously, it's fun to be with your teammates for another year and things of that nature, and get to go through live college again.
Did you sort of feel like you were rolling the dice a little bit with the success, or did you have a good feeling that you guys were going to have success?
I thought we would be a good team, and I think that's evidenced by some of the guys that you'll see drafted in this upcoming draft, and guys who maybe come back and again. So I knew we had a lot of good players, and I thought we could definitely improve on last year.
Andrew, is it a strange experience to be living your life and playing college football at Stanford, but getting clips or hearing stuff about how the whole National Football League is just consumed with who's going to get Andrew Luck and which team you're going to and what are they going to do? Both of them have a quarterback of their own. What they're going to do? Are you able to sort of segment that or look at it and just laugh? And how do you handle that?
Yeah. So I don't live in a cave, so obviously I hear things, see things, whatever. But I think when you're surrounded by good teammates, if you get on a high horse, if they see you're thinking about things you're not supposed to be thinking about, they do a good job of keeping myself and everybody else grounded. But I try to avoid getting caught up in what will happen in a couple months from now or whatever. To me, college football was important. I came back to play college football, so it wasn't too hard to maybe push those distractions aside and focus on winning college football games and understanding that whatever happens in the next level will happen, and there's time to think about it after the season and prepare for that. But right now, I think I'd be doing a disservice to the university, the coaches, the players by getting caught up in all that hoopla or whatever.
How do your teammates keep you grounded?
They rib me like anybody else. Just make sure you're on everybody's on the same page on things.
Were you? What did you think about Barkley's decision to come back relative to yours?
Obviously, I think different situations. I'm happy for him. I think I'm sure he made the decision for the right reasons, and I'm sure he'll enjoy a lot of success, because of that decision. But I'm happy for him, and I hope I wish him all the best.
Do you think you'll be better prepared for the NFL because of what you've gone through this year?
That I will be?
Yeah.
I definitely think so. I think I've learned a lot football-wise, and that's a testament, to the coaches like Coach Pep, and in the quarterback room, and getting to talk to him for another year, and just getting, more experience. So, I definitely think I'll be hopefully better prepared.
And you can't make that decision worrying about injuries, right? You just got to make it and go on.
Absolutely. It's a big part of it.
When did you, growing up the son of an NFL quarterback, when did you first, has it always been part of your life, hey, I might could play in the NFL if I wanted to? Has that always been a part of your life?
Yeah, I think so. I always wanted to. It's not that I assumed I would just show up and be decent at football, but I think that was something I always wanted to do. It's obviously every little kid's dream to throw the winning pass in the Super Bowl or national championship game or whatever. But I always sort of figured that, hey, if I put the work in, then I'll have a chance to maybe do this for real.
When did you know you were pretty good at football?
I don't know. I think it's different in high school and college. I think it's hard to play that, but I think my redshirt freshman year in college, sophomore year, we obviously we had a great back in Toby Gerhart, and we started winning some games, and And I thought, hey, really, I might be pretty decent at this position.
So you didn't have that. You didn't necessarily think that when you were in Houston.
Well, I obviously
was it more of a dream than a.
Yeah, I think so. And you're young in high school. You got so many other things going on, and just the opportunity to play college football, on a scholarship was like the end all at that time for me.
Do you have an advantage because of your dad's experience? In the way that I think Peyton and Eli sort of had an edge just on how to handle things, how to deal with college recruiting, college coaches, NFL scout, everything. I think Archie's helped them, and I assume your dad's helped you.
It's definitely not a disadvantage. I'll say that. He's been in a lot of situations I think that I may find myself in or may down the road get into, and I think I said earlier he also knows a lot of people in the business, having worked in it for a while now. So if he doesn't have the answer for something or an experience with something, he can easily call someone up and get his advice or give me a number to call. So it definitely helps. And just watching him, how he handles media or things of that nature, and it's been I think a big plus.
Did you have any kind of crazy experiences when you were in Europe? Just things that stand out in your mind now?
Crazy experiences in Europe.
Just things that you wouldn't have had growing up in the States or home.
When I hear crazy European experience, that's what
Sounds like a National Lampoon movie. Yeah.
I know. No, I remember going to an Arsenal game, at their stadium as a young boy with my dad, and probably heard 50 words I'd never heard before, and I think that was my first introduction to how passionate fans are, towards their teams, whether it's soccer or football, rugby, baseball, whatever. So that was, I think, that was an interesting experience.
What did your dad impart to you that has been advice you've carried? Maybe it's mechanical, maybe it's psychological. I don't know.
Yeah, I think just to respect people. Just simple things like that, but just to respect people.
So not even football-related stuff necessarily.
No, and he's always been there more as a father than as a coach. He's never really, even like in middle school, he wouldn't meddle in the middle school coaches' affairs. So which I appreciate, because I think it makes it a lot easier to come home after a practice or a game and just be able to, which is not to say, if I had a question, he'd definitely answer it. But he was always more of the father and let the coaches do the coaching.
So he never coached you?
He did in like Pop Warner, 4th, 5th grade. But beyond that, once you have the school system and everything, it was up to the coaches.
Your dad's about to be an opponent of these guys. Oklahoma State. Is he fired up about the Big 12?
Absolutely. I think he's very excited. I got to talk to him a little bit about it. not too much. I'm sure he'd love to be in the Big 12 tomorrow if he could. I know there's a process you have to go through, but I think he's very excited, and I think hopefully that'll be the end of all the changes in the whole conference for a while. But he's very excited.
And he also hired these guys as offensive coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
You know much about Holgerson or what his impact on this program?
Well, I think my dad's very happy and excited. Obviously, they're in a BCS bowl, and I think I haven't met Coach Holgerson. I'm on the West Coast. West Virginia's, it's a ways away. But I know, hearing my dad talk, and just asking him a couple questions, he's very excited, happy, and looks forward to a great future in the new conference with Coach Holgerson.
Speaking of coaches, can you talk a little bit about Coach Shaw?
Yeah.
And just, I think a lot of people were curious how he'd do, and obviously it's been a great transition for you guys.
Oh no, he's been great. I've known him since high school, being recruited out of Houston, and having him on the staff. I was always very impressed with his self-control and how logical he was to every situation that seemed to spring up from, whether it was in football or with a player in a bad situation. So I'm not surprised he's been this successful so far. He's been great for me, just imparting his football knowledge and just life lessons in general. So he's a great guy, and I think he'll just continue to succeed.
Every coach has their style. I was talking to David about his style, and he said it's a method every day. Is that what stands out to you about Coach Shaw?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he may be perceived as laid back, but I think it's more just very logical for how he approaches every situation, and I think he knows in his mind what's the right way to do it, what's the wrong way to do it, and he makes sure we know, and then the line's been drawn, and if you cross that line in a bad way, you're going to be punished. So I think he's very methodical and logical about how he goes about his business.
Is there a moment or an instance involving him this season that will stand out in your mind when you think about him 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
I'm not sure. I've tried not to reflect too much about the season with the game coming up. So I'm sure after the Fiesta Bowl I'll be able to sit down and a bunch of thousands of memories I'm sure will flood in. But I think how he's handled the success has been very impressive to me too. He's never gotten full of himself in front of the team, or he's done a very good job with that.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how the offense is patient and is willing to settle for 3 or 4 yards and to move methodically down the field as opposed to big plays like Oklahoma State gets?
Well, I think one, we'd love to have big plays every time if we could. Obviously, every time you run a play, you want to score a touchdown. But I think that maybe goes back to the philosophy of running the football first, and that's been the philosophy since I've been at Stanford. We want to run the football first, and that sets up the pass as a quarterback. I know that. I don't get frustrated by maybe throwing it a little less than some other guys, because I understand we're successful because we run the football. So guys buy into that philosophy, and I don't think we want to settle for 3 or 4 yards every play. Like I said, we want to score a touchdown every time we get on the field, but we understand that running the football is sort of our identity.
Well, and that keeps the Oklahoma State offense off the field, too, if you guys are able to put those methodical drives together, too.
I think so, and I think our defense maybe likes getting a rest every now and then, and I know we like it when the defense gets a 3 and out and we get to go back on the field. So, but anytime you can stay on the field and put long drives together, that's great. And I think it goes back to running the football philosophy.
Do you think that this game can impact your draft status at all, either direction, or do you feel like you're set as far as where? I mean, you said before you're like, well, I don't know if it'll be the number 1 pick. So, do you look at that game in that way, that NFL scouts are still watching my last college game or anything like that?
I approach the game trying to win it. I guess that's what's important to me. I think hopefully I think I have a good body of work, whatever, and obviously I want to be successful in this game. But I approach it more as trying to win than trying to impress anybody.
You talk about running the football. There's a guy in our neck of the woods, high school-wise, that would like to come and run the football at Stanford, possibly Barry J. Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
He's talked about you having gone around campus with you. Can you talk about your impressions of him, and do you remember him being on campus?
Yeah, forgive me, but I don't know if I can talk about recruits.
I think you can.
I can?
Coaches can.
Is that okay? Is that the rule? All right, well, don't get me in trouble. If that's the rule.
Strike this from the record.
Yeah, okay.
I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, but nice kid. Great guy, very easy to talk to.
Yeah.
And just, I think would be a great fit.
He said one of the things he liked when he was with you is that there was a level of anonymity for you on campus. That he said, you got to be a student, you got to be a guy on campus. Have you felt that way on campus at Stanford?
Absolutely. I think, on a campus where, you have presidents' daughters, you have, Michelle Wee, professional golfers. People respect each other's privacy. No one's gonna make an idiot of themselves. Banging on your dorm room or yelling across, during a class. So it's been nice to get to sort of maybe live your life as as a student athlete.
Have you had the crazies banging on your dorm room?
No one comes
Really?
up to the dorm room. That's a little far.
So it's a distance thing, not a.
What does Kobe bring to your offense that, he's such a unique threat as a tight end that averages 20 yards per catch?
Yeah.
So just kind of what does he bring to the table?
I think, he's somewhat of a matchup problem. He's big, he's fast, and, he can jump, and he can block, he can split out wide, he can do a lot of things. So, I think he's definitely a matchup problem. And, he's committed himself to being a very, good all-around football player, not just a pass-catching tight end, but, also a blocking tight end. So it's been fun to see, him continue to grow. Obviously I played with him for started 3 years with him and, been on the team with 4 years with him. So it's been fun to watch him grow. And it's, but, he's just just a good football player.
Yeah, Coach Hamilton said he was, the third or fourth fastest guy on the team, which you don't normally think that of, a guy that's, 6'5" or whatever he is, and 250 pounds.
No, he's very athletically blessed, but he also has a great work ethic to go with it.
Not from a pressure standpoint, from a fun standpoint. Is it more fun to have a guy like Whedon, a guy is pretty good, slinging the ball on the other side in a bowl game? I mean, hey, this could be kind of fun.
No, absolutely. I think it's always fun to maybe go up against guys. Obviously, the offense isn't per se going up against the opposing offense, but no, absolutely. And as athletes, you always want the challenge, of the best guy, and he's obviously, I think, one of the best out there this year. So, it's definitely fun.
Jenny asked you too about little Barry. Do you involve yourself in recruiting, or do you say, hey, yeah, Coach, if you got a guy you really need me to show around a little bit, you're more than willing to give your free time in the recruiting area? Because some guys of your stature might say, Coach, I got some things to do here, but are you pretty freewheeling with that?
I do what the coaches tell me to do. I don't know if I don't know if I volunteer my time.
You wait to get called in.
Yeah, I wait to get called in, and I think in every program when you're younger, you're freshman, you're sophomore, you do your recruiting, hosting responsibilities, and I definitely did that. And as you get older, maybe you're called in every now and then to talk or to walk around. But I think if the coaches ask me to do something, I'm going to do it. But I don't. I guess my first job is to play football, not a recruiter.
Can you talk a little bit about the Manning camps that you went with Whedon, and how you developed a bond with him?
Yeah, I think it's just very easy guy to get along with. Easy to talk to, easy to hang out with. So I definitely enjoyed that. And for all the college quarterbacks, it's like being in a candy shop and you get to sit in the room with the Mannings and hear their stories and maybe get their advice. So I think we all love that, and just to get to talk to him and hang out with Brandon, it's been a pleasure getting to know him.
What did you learn in the Manning camps that you have taken away and incorporated into your game?
I think hearing them talk about their preparation and how they, whether it's in the summer throwing routes to the receivers or how they approach watching film or approach just throwing individual. It's trying to take how they approach things and apply it to your own game.
And do you think that'll extend on into the NFL career?
I hope so. You always try and look at all the great whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees or the Mannings, and see where you can apply what they do to your game. So hopefully it extends beyond.
So do you watch any NFL quarterbacks now and look at their footwork or anything that you try to gain tips off of?
No, absolutely. I think I try to watch as many NFL games as I can because they're obviously the pinnacle of this sport. And we have Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning and Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers film. I think those are most of the guys we watched in our film system. So during the season we don't get to watch as much as we'd like, obviously, because we're focused more on what the defense is doing. But in the summer we'll watch, and I think especially this year Aaron Rodgers and seeing what he was doing, because obviously he's playing at a very high level.
Andrew, the coaches pretty much took away your running game this year, probably just to protect you, I guess, more than anything else. The last game, will they take the reins off and let you run the side runs?
I don't know. There's a lot. There's probably 50 better runners on the team than me. So I'd much rather get the balls in their hands and let them make a play. But I think throughout the year, when I've had to run maybe on a third down or to get a first down, I haven't hesitated to do so. So I'm sure that'll still be the same, in the upcoming game. But as far as designed runs, I don't think we'll change the offense too much, in terms of QB running coming up.
You've had a number of, prior to this year, you had a number of long runs. One of your long runs was to run down Eddie Pleasant after he recovered a fumble against you.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, I was going to bring it up because it was a tremendous play on your part to go catch him. He's a pretty fast DB, and you ran him down after a 50-yard run. Do you remember that play? What was going through your mind?
I do. One, it was, I hope Chris is okay. I think that was one of the plays that he got,
But while you were running,
well, you see it happen, and you say, I hope he's okay. Then you realize, oh man, I got to do something to try and help the team. So, in my mind, helping the team at that point was trying to stop the ball carrier from getting in the end zone.
There's probably been a frenzy of agents trying to represent you. I imagine your parents have been handling all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's it been like? Can you just give us a glimpse of what they've been going through?
I think I'm very blessed that my mom and dad do handle pretty much 100% of it right now, and that's the way I wanted it. So it's.
But it must have been amazing for them. They probably were getting a call from every agent on the planet, right?
Hey, to be honest, they don't tell me, which I think ignorance is bliss in a lot of situations. For me, I'll have time. I'll have go home for a week after the game and really sit down and hammer through what needs to get done. But they think it's maybe their version of parents trying to protect a kid.
And when are they coming
out? 31st maybe.
Andrew, I know you were injured and playing the Sun Bowl. Did you make that trip? How much do you think this team has changed, this program has changed since then?
Well, I think it's continued to be sort of an upward climb. I think we've continued to get better. Obviously, that year I think we had a great running back in Toby Gerhart. He did so many wonderful things, and I think guys realized, hey, we can be successful. It was obviously, I think, good to go to a bowl game and get that experience for a lot of guys, and then realize, hey, we just got to double our efforts if we want to go to a better bowl. And so I think it was good though to think at that time to have tangible evidence that we can be a winning program and we can go to a bowl game.
What does it mean to you that you guys have changed the culture since you were older guys?
Yeah, it means a lot, and it also I think falls on the guys who have graduated, and maybe didn't get to go to an Orange Bowl or things like that, who sort of laid the foundation. But I think it's you get a little more satisfaction out of being a part of a team that sort of has turned itself around and gone in the right way than maybe coming to a place where you've won 15 years straight, and gone 10-win seasons. So I think guys do get a lot of satisfaction of winning at a place where you're not supposed to win per se.
Is that what Harbaugh told you when he recruited you?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think that was also I think a lot of the guys' inner motivation to come to a place where they could maybe have it a little harder, a little tougher, but at the end it would be a little more satisfying.
Did you talk to your father at all about the school going to the Big 12?
Yeah, a little bit.
What's he said about it?
He's very excited. Obviously, I think he'd love to be in it tomorrow if he didn't have to go through the legal process and the process. So no, he's excited. It's a big deal.
There were a few days last year. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say, if you had to break down the keys to your success offensively in this game, what would be?
I think one, execution. Like any other game, you got to go out there and execute. The coaches put us in a position, and it's up to the players to execute. So it falls on us. And then two, I think taking care of the football. They're a very opportunistic defense. When the ball's in the air, if it's thrown in the wrong spot, they will catch it. The DBs on Oklahoma State will catch it and we'll make a play, returning it. So take care of the football, execute, and obviously you got to put points on the board. Especially when you're playing a team as high powered as Oklahoma State is.
Andrew, Landry Jones, the Oklahoma junior quarterback, facing the same decision you had, of course, coming out. What are some of your thoughts of why you made your decision, what you might say to Landry Jones?
Yeah, I know Landry pretty well. I've roomed with him at camps and stay in correspondence with him through text message every now and then. But as far as what into my decision, one it just felt right, inherently felt right. So that was a big part of it too. Wanted to come back. School was important. Wanted to finish school. Three, I sort of wanted to maybe prolong growing up for another year and live the college experience again, and be with my teammates and try and learn and grow as a football player some more before hopefully getting a shot at the next level. And what I would tell Landry is if he's a religious man, go pray about it. Obviously talk to his family members and the people he cares about, his coaches, and then make the decision that he'll be happiest with.
What you've seen, what you know about Landry Jones, is he ready for that next level?
I think he's a great quarterback. Obviously, I think he'll be successful no matter what he does. Stays where he goes. So, I guess that's all up to him now.
What do you
seen about Brandon Whedon that has impressed you? You know, what kind of a quarterback is he?
Yeah, haven't seen much film of him or any at all because I'm looking at the defense, but from the highlights and the games you watch on TV throughout the year, he can make all the throws. That's for sure. He's got a very strong, powerful arm. He seems to make great decisions every time he's on the field and put his offense in a good spot to win. And I think he's definitely up there as one of the best quarterbacks in college football.
There were a few days last summer when it seemed like half the Big 12 was heading to the Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever it was. At the time, did you think this is goofy and the culture clash, or did you think this is the way things are now and anything goes?
Yeah, I think it was more this is the way things are going to be. Massive mega conferences. I know there's a lot written, a lot of literature about it and everything, but it was just. I guess and for us, I think players, we're in a position where it's, where we can't really control any of what goes on about that.
For a few days, at least in Texas and Oklahoma, it seemed imminent. It seemed
yeah.
I mean, did it feel that certain on the West Coast?
I don't know if there was as much of a media blitz about it, at Stanford, during the summer, and maybe that was just because we weren't on the internet reading it, but and maybe it was because we were already in that spot, and maybe more people were going to join, whatever. But to us, I don't know if it felt that imminent. I guess to the Big 12 country that thought about leaving or had been talked about leaving.
All right, Andrew. Thanks so
much.
much.
No problem. All right, how you doing? In a comfortable position?
No.
I'm sorry, you need a chair.
No, I find that I used to sit in the chair. It's better for me to be back here. I can hear you better.
Oh, yeah. Do you do that for a company, or is this just for the Fiesta Bowl?
Well, I do it for a company, but I'm always here for Fiesta.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
While you're unoccupied, I was just curious about, having Sam and David Yankee and Cameron. What's that adjustment process been? I mean, how have you seen it from your perspective? Yeah. And do you feel like it's there, or that they really work well as a group right now?
Yeah. Well, I think they definitely have all gelled together. I think the O-line is one of the more interesting units on a football team. They're always sort of. They never want any credit. They sort of come to work every day. They hang out with each other. Seems like they don't talk to anybody else during practice. Things of that nature. But they've gelled very well. I've been so impressed with those three. Lining up alongside David and Jonathan, who obviously had established themselves as premier football players. They really. I think as much as they wanted to succeed for themselves, I don't think they wanted to let David or Jonathan down, or the older guys on the team, and they've done such a good job of that. I think Cam Fleming, when it comes game time, he's straining, he's playing, he's pushing himself. He does amazing things, and he really works at getting better during practice. And then Sam in the interior, it's hard to come in and replace a guy like Chase Bleeler, an All-American, who seemed to do no wrong, and the play hasn't dipped down at all. I think a lot of it has to do with Sam and him making the right calls and getting the offense and the offensive line in the right protection or a run scheme. So does a great job of that. And Yankee, just comes to work every day. I think try to obviously. If I were a guard, I would try to model myself after David just because of what he does, and I think he does the same thing. And he's got a very bright future ahead of him. All right, see you guys.